This assignment is titled, How Might Education Mediate Difference and Dominance? Hello, my name's Melinda Chandler. I'm a first-year Bachelor of Education student at the University of Southern Queensland. I'm currently studying Self-Education and Society. This YouTube clip is my submission for the second assignment for this subject. The event and artefact that I have chosen to explore for this assignment is a newspaper article about a young man who went missing while swimming in Balimba Creek. This story ends tragically the next day when the searchers found his body. While obviously tragic, I chose this event and article because of what a spokesperson, Mr. Ahmed, was quoted in the paper as saying. He said the boy was going through all the experiences you normally go through, like language barriers, culture shock and isolation. In addition to that, they have a language barrier, so it's very difficult to communicate and share their feelings with anybody outside of the Somali community. This article highlighted to me that while Mr. Ahmed did not mention any racial discrimination, it appeared that the boy was having difficulty fitting in to what would be considered the Australian way of life because he was from another country. It is this inability for the boy to feel that he fitted in that connects this event to our community. As mentioned in our textbook, Culture and Identity, racism or racial discrimination can assume many different forms. That is, racism does not have to be attached to physical violence or verbal abuse. Racism can be attached to people who occupy the normal or centre of the Australian community, who choose to exclude or ignore people who are racially different from them, otherwise known as the other. Many people choose to insist that immigrants should abandon their cultural identities before they will consider them being worthy of their attention. While this type of racism is non-violent, it nonetheless has serious community consequences, such as expressed by Mr. Ahmed, immigrants keeping within their own community so that they can communicate, get a sense of belonging, and probably just generally feel safe. While in their own community, they have a feeling of being in the centre. Being non-racist means that you will treat everyone the same. That is, their differences are just that. No better, no worse, just different. The overall learning objective is for students to understand that ignoring and excluding the other are in fact forms of racism. The target audience for this curriculum is Year 5 and above. However, I believe that age-appropriate modifications could make this curriculum suitable for all ages. The primary curriculum areas to be covered are: number 1, to define racism; number 2, to identify with racism; and number 3, to create a non-racist environment. The first thing that we'd do in this lesson is to actually define racism. Why would we do that? Well, it's to ensure that students know the meaning of the term racism. And we'd go about it by running a group session where ideas and words about racism are offered up by the students and documented. We would develop a group definition of racism, and we would research the official definitions of racism. Secondly, the students would be asked to start to identify with racism. Why would we do that? Well, it's so students can understand the different forms of racism and so that they can experience what racism feels like. Also, students can be introduced to the concepts of group structural advantage. How would we go about that? Well, we could run a group role play that segregates students into minority and dominant groups. Students document experiences and their feelings. The students individually would explore and document their own race and their position within the community. And finally, we'd try to use this information that we've learned in the last couple of sessions to create a non-racist environment. Well, why would we do that? Well, for students to adopt a common way to ensure a non-racist environment. And how would we go about it? Well, the teacher could lead a group brainstorming session to identify and document the guidelines to ensure a non-racist classroom.
From underneath the trees, we watch the sky, confusing stars and satellites. I never dreamed that you'd be mine, but here we are, we're here tonight, singing, hey, man, I'm alive, singing, hey, man, I'm alive. Died and I'm singing, hey, amen, amen, I'm alive, amen, 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 I'm alive. And in the air, the fireflies are only light in paradise. But show the world they were wrong and teach them all to sing along. Singing.